You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion. Delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And pretty simple today. Today is a National Day of Giving. Shouldn't that be every day? I know we have to highlight some of these things to remind people of the things they should be doing on a regular basis. But I guess when you get into the holiday time, you got to have a day for everything, right? I mean, so today is the National Day of Giving, Electronic Greetings Day. Again, isn't that every day? I mean, I probably send out, well, at least one or two text messages a day, maybe more than that. But, you know, I'm looking at the list. I'm going to starve today because there's nothing to eat. You know, we usually find something that helps me with my beating anorexia. So there's nothing for today. So I might just have to go get some more French toast from yesterday. Oh well. Let's move right along. Dow Jones Industrial Average now down 106 points. The S&P is down 15. NASDAQ is down 62. Oil up 85 cents a barrel. 78.13. I won't say that you could probably buy oil out of Canada for about 25% less than that. Probably because the administration wants us to buy it from Venezuela. Don't know why. Hunter Biden. But we'll find out over the time to come. I don't get it. So we will see what's going on that one, but we're going to continue watching that for you. Nothing really exciting to talk about in the gas prices, although, well, maybe. California is under $5 a gallon on a statewide basis. Just barely. $4.99.5 a gallon is the price for a gallon of gasoline in California. $3.52 is the national number. And yeah, Lori's still at $3.05 a gallon. So, you know, but $2 a gallon cheaper to go to Louisiana. I'm not sure anyone wants to go to Louisiana. Well, I shouldn't say that. We're on the web. But you know, something we love all the states. Louisiana is actually, they're in America, so they've got a big benefit there. Let's move right along and see what else is going on in the world. Big time battle of the Titans. Elon Musk and Apple. Have you followed that at all? So apparently, since Elon Musk bought Twitter and is allowing Twitter to be a free speech zone, I guess they're moderating in some senses. Apple's decided to pull their $50 million advertising campaign. So what would you do if you were the richest person in the world and just bought a platform that you've got millions of people listening to? Well, you just ask why. So Musk went on a tweeting frenzy yesterday, and I guess there was about 50 tweets aimed at Apple asking Tim Cook, don't you like free speech? Now the question is, how much money is Twitter paying to Apple, right? Because there's a lot of people that are going back on Twitter now that Musk has bought the platform. We are one of them, right? So a lot of people going back on Twitter. And when you go and you acquire Twitter through the App Store, I guess Apple makes money on that. Now, I don't know how they make money on it because I thought Twitter was free when you get it through the App Store or you go to Twitter's site. I don't know because that's what Josh helps me out with is he knows all of this electronic stuff way better than me. Although, we've got an app, so we do share our fair share of information on Twitter at Ron Siegel. Yes, I did go off when they banned the president and anybody else that had an opposing view. So we were able to get our original name back. That surprised me that we did get that, at Ron Siegel on Twitter. So we are there. Moving right along, let's see what else is going on in the markets today. China having some problems. I guess their people are not happy with the zero COVID policy. I don't know how you have a policy for zero, right? I mean, we've got more people getting COVID here in the U.S. We've got this RSV that we have to be careful of for the little ones. Or is it RSV or RVS? I think it's RSV. You got to be careful of that for the little ones. I do know some folks that have got that. It's not pleasant. And flu, all of them coming back right now. I'm going to share that I said this, and we could probably go back in the archives and find out where I said it. But the little ones are going to have more of these issues. Why? Because they were secluded when they were first born. They didn't get the opportunity to develop their immune systems. Now, I am no doctor, and I don't even play one on TV. But it just seems to me that, if you're not building up your immunities, you're going to have problems down the road somewhere. When I was a kid, I don't know if they still do this, but when I was a kid, they talked about the idea of, got to eat some dirt, right? Doesn't kill you when the kids eat dirt. My grandson, I share this. I'm not sure that my son likes the idea when I say this, but if he goes and scrapes his knee or scrapes an elbow, I don't want him to get hurt. No. But will it hurt him to scrape a knee or scrape an elbow? No. He needs to be a little boy. He needs to go out there and go on the slide and go down the slide and hit the dirt. I'm going to say, don't go head first. He's going to try it anyway. Right? Didn't you do that? I did it. I didn't listen to my parents and paid the price for it. How many times did you touch the stove when mom and dad told you not to? I know. How many times did you do other things that mom and dad told you not to that were worse than touching the stove? I'm just going to go out there. I know that I am very, very thankful that when I grew up, and I know I hate when people say this, but when I grew up, they didn't have cell phones. And there was no video cameras, and there was not a camera in every person's pocket. And thank goodness, because right now you can't do anything without the anticipation that somebody's got you on video somewhere, right? So, and I'll be the first to admit it that, there's some things that I watch my grandson do that I know that his mother and my wife would probably get pretty upset about. But, something, he's a little boy. Let him be a little boy. Go play with those trucks and go down the slide and get on the swing and get on. Do they even have merry-go-rounds anymore? Right? I don't know if the parks. Josh has a little one, so he's smarter on this than I am. I don't know if there's merry-go-rounds because you could fall off a merry-go-round, and many of us did. We jumped off of them to fall. Right? It doesn't kill you. We're still here to talk about it. Played kickball in the street. Played football on the asphalt. Right? Those are good times. Got to be able to do that. So maybe if our kids are out there doing some of these things, they might build up some immunities. They might build up to have some durability, right? They'll realize that, something, you can scrape your elbow and live. You can scrape your knee and it's not going to be the end of the world. Don't want him to get sick. Don't want him to get hurt, but we want him to live and get stronger. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio. I'll get off my soapbox. Discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets when we come back. 3 ways you can use your home equity. We will talk about it. How do you negotiate with a debt collector? We'll talk about that. And don't let divorce ruin your credit. All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in about a minute.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
79% of all credit reports have errors that should be corrected through factual disputing. You could be saving thousands every year if your report was accurate. CreditSanitizer.com provides a free credit report audit when you furnish a specific $1 credit report. You can use this information to request corrections to your report and potentially save thousands of dollars. Get your free credit audit at CreditSanitizer.com. That's CreditSanitizer.com for a free credit report audit. CreditSanitizer.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. 1990, the Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The S&P 500 is now down 17.1. Let's take a look and see what that means about the 10-year Treasury. That's up 2 basis points, 3.72. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. Mortgage-backed securities down 12 basis points. We'll get into that one as well. And every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. Conforming loans yesterday locked at 6.524, down just a little bit. The 30-year jumbos locked at 6.482, down just a little bit. The 30-year FHA loan locked at 6.511, up a little. USDA loans 6.524, that was up just a fraction. And the best loan on the market, but you got to earn it. The 30-year VA loan 6.31, down 15.7. Down 15.7 basis points. It was down just a little bit yesterday. That's the VA loan, best loan on the market. Those are all OBMMI. That's where we get that information. And it's yesterday's numbers. That doesn't mean you can get them today. In fact, most likely you cannot get them today because, like I said, the mortgage-backed securities are down 12 basis points. That means interest rates are up just a little bit. And we told you yesterday that we were going to see a bit of a problem just because on his way out the door, James Bullard was trying to shake up the markets. He did that yesterday. We told you it was going to happen. We knew it, but we know he only gets to vote one more time. He will have his say at the Fed meetings, but he doesn't get to vote until beyond this next meeting in December. I think it's the 14th. After that, he's not a voting member. He'll still be still the president of the St. Louis Fed, but he's not that particular branch is not a voting member. So we warned about that. The markets did sell off after the comments. He said that the Fed has a ways to go to get restrictive and thinks the Fed needs to raise rates to at least 5.25. Okay, well, it's better than his 7% before. He did not mention that 7% as he did previously. Following his comments, the mortgage bond market went down to almost 40 basis points, but we recovered most of the losses as it was digested throughout the day. Chinese citizens have been protesting the zero COVID policy lockdowns, and to some extent, they are getting a response from the government. Peter Bookvar believes this could be the beginning of the end of China's harsh approach to COVID, and we need to think about what both China and the rest of the world will look like on a full reopening, which we haven't seen since 2019. This could impact oil consumption and inflation. Now, I saw this article yesterday. I don't know if you've seen this. And I'm not a big soccer fan. Are you a soccer fan? So obviously the big story of soccer right now is the World Cup. And apparently when the World Cup is being broadcast into China, they blur the faces of all of the spectators because they don't want the Chinese citizens to realize that they're not wearing masks. Thought that was kind of fascinating right there. So let's go back and continue on with this. New appreciation data, home appreciation. Case-Shiller Home Price Index, which is considered the gold standard for appreciation, showed home prices fell 1% in September, but increased by 10% year over year, which is a decline from the previous reading of 13% in August. Home prices are now down 2.5% from the peak, a far cry from a housing crash of 20 to 30%. To be clear, we anticipate additional softening as the full impact of peak rates were not realized in September. The 10 city and 20 city were down 1.4% and 1.5% respectively, meaning that a lot of losses were concentrated in the bigger cities that were somewhat overheated: Seattle, Denver, San Diego, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. The decreases were milder than the previous report, but wait, don't get too excited about this yet. The FHFA, Federal Housing Finance Agency, released their house price index, which measures home price appreciation on single-family homes with a conforming loan amount. Different than Case-Shiller, it does not include cash buyers or jumbo loans. The FHFA reported the prices rose 0.1% in September and are up 11% year over year. Based on this, you can interpolate that the decline in Case-Shiller is coming from higher priced homes where there is less demand. So the properties that are not outside that conforming loan limits or high balance limits, those actually rose 0.1% and are now 11% up year over year. So you need to understand that. And if we look from the technical standpoint, well, the bonds are still moving right in the channel that we've expected. And as I shared with you yesterday, I am expecting that we're going to see some improvement in mortgage rates after the inflation numbers come out on Thursday. So we're kind of just standing by right now to make sure that our predictions, our forecasts are accurate. So do I have a crystal ball? Can I guarantee these things? No. All I can do is share guidance that I believe and I get from all kinds of sources all over. So that is the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to call 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And a better outcome segment today. We've got a bit of a continuation, or a theme, I think is the right term. We've got a bit of a theme going on right now. It's about credit. So, better outcome segment brought to you by mycdlp.com, mycdlp.com. Don't forget, if you've got real property and you're going through divorce as we move into divorce season, mydymworkbook.com, mydymworkbook.com. Again, it's just a free tool. We give away all sorts of free tools on Ron Siegel Radio. I am not an attorney. I do not give legal advice. Got to talk to the attorneys. Now, if you want legal advice, you can call me, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. I do know quite a few divorce attorneys, although I've never had the occasion to use one myself, thank goodness. Don't let divorce ruin your credit is the subject today. When divorce is present, it is crucial to understand what happens to the liability for credit card debt in divorcing situations. In a divorce, the extent of a party's liability for credit card debt depends on whether they live in common law or community property state, whether the debt is for a joint credit card, and who the debt is assigned in the divorce. Who the debt is assigned to in the divorce. Okay. So whether the debt is for joint credit card and who the debt is assigned for, and just in general, who the debt is assigned to. Credit card liability in common law states. Talk about that first. The majority of states follow the common law rules when dividing property and debt in a divorce. These are referred to as common law states or equitable distribution states. In a common law state, you are generally liable for all debts in your name. This means that if you took out a credit card in your name or co-signed on it, the creditor can come after you to collect the debt. As a result, after divorce, You can be held liable for all individual or joint credit cards as long as your name is on them. However, you are not liable for any credit card debt owed solely by your spouse in most cases. Special rules for community property states. When it comes to property distribution and debt allocation, certain states follow community property laws rather than common law. In a community property state, most debts incurred by either spouse during the marriage, but not before or after marriage, are considered community debts. Therefore, both spouses are held equally liable for community debts, even if only one spouse incurred the debt. If living in a community property state, one may be on the hook for a credit card, even if it is in this other spouse's name only. However, each state also considers different factors when determining if an obligation is a community debt. Generally, if the credit card was used for something that benefited the marital community, it will be community debt regardless of who incurred the charges. But if one spouse used their own credit card to buy something that did not benefit the marriage, there's a greater chance it will not be considered a community debt. I wonder what happens with clothes. I digress. What happens if the debt was assigned to a specific spouse in the divorce? The first thing to note is that credit card companies are not bound by the terms of the divorce decree or a family court order assigning the debt to a specific spouse. This is because when the credit card was obtained, either one party or both entered into a contract with the credit card company. Therefore, a family court judge does not have the power to alter the credit card company's rights under the contract. As a result, if a debt is assigned to one spouse in the divorce, the other spouse may still be liable if their name was on the account, they are a co-signer, or it was a community debt. However, it may be less likely that a credit card company will pursue an assigned party based solely on community debt liability if it was the other spouse's card. However, if one spouse is ordered to pay a credit card in the divorce but fails to do so, they may be in violation of the divorce decree or court order. In that case, the other spouse will usually be entitled to reimbursement or damages from the ex-spouse in the other party if the other party ends up having to pay the debt. Divorce and the credit report. Many divorced couples run into financial problems a few months after a divorce when an ex-spouse starts making late payments on a shared account. These late payments appear on both account holders' credit reports despite divorce decrees. Once the records appear on your credit report, it will show a negative status for those accounts that were not paid on time or not paid. To avoid these issues, divorced couples should close or refinance all shared accounts if possible. Any shared credit cards, loans, and mortgages will continue to be a joint responsibility until you work directly with the financial institution to resolve the issue. Divorce can lead to emotional strain, but it can also cause all sorts of financial problems. All those shared accounts and co-signed loans that once seemed so romantic are now the cause of the significant issue. The following important tips can help avoid financial damages that will show up on your credit report and stay on your consumer credit report for years to come. Managing shared accounts. It is not always possible to close or refinance your shared debts after a divorce. Mortgages and large loans can be challenging to refinance quickly. In this situation, you and your ex-spouse must work closely to manage a shared account. Remember, your credit may be damaged if your ex-spouse cannot handle the shared account responsibly, and vice versa. One of the easiest ways to manage a shared debt with an ex-spouse is to set up an online account access. You can easily log in to check on the loan's payment status. If you see that the debt has not yet been paid for the month, you can contact your ex-spouse or decide to pay the bill yourself to avoid late payment and damage to your credit score. Encourage your spouse to sign up for automatic payments that will deduct the bill from their accounts each month. An ex-spouse with lousy credit may decide to ruin their former spouse's credit by not paying a shared account. Remember that adverse reporting such as charge-offs, liens, judgments, bankruptcy filings, foreclosures, and repossessions related to shared accounts can also appear on both account holders' credit reports. Therefore, it is advisable to continue working with your ex-spouse to manage your shared finances after a divorce when at all possible. A divorce mortgage planner, the CDLP, Certified Divorce Lending Professional, can help divorcing homeowners make a more informed decision regarding their home equity solutions while helping the professional divorce team identify any potential conflicts between the divorce settlement, home equity solutions, and real property issues. Involving a CDLP early in the divorce process can help the divorcing homeowners set the stage for successful mortgage financing in the future. That's why we offer the My Divorcing Your Mortgage Workbook, mydymworkbook.com, mydymworkbook.com. It is free. Just complete it, send it back to us, rj@ronsiegelradio.com. We will put it into a format so you, and if you've got an attorney, you can actually look at it and have the information you need. That, and again, I reiterate, I am sharing information only. I am not an attorney. I do not give legal advice. You need to pay an attorney for that. And we can always, if you don't have one already, we can always put you in touch with a great financial family lawyer. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, 3 ways to use your home equity. How do you negotiate with a debt collector and more? You can reach us anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in less than a minute.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Is your budget getting blown up with high prices of gas and increased costs for other household needs? This is Ron Siegel, host of the daily Home and Finance radio program. Did you know if you have a low interest rate mortgage along with auto debt, credit card debt, or student loans, your family could potentially save $500 or more per month by restructuring these debts? If you'd like a free Borrow Smart analysis with our team, let's book an appointment to see how we might be able to relieve some stress. Schedule your appointment at rsrbsa.com. That's rsrbsa.com for your free Borrow Smart analysis. rsrbsa.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomescout.com, rsrhomescout.com. Great little app for you. First tab on there. You can actually find out what the properties are available in about 97% of the U.S. So if you're shopping out of area, out of state, you can start your shopping right there. Fourth tab, you put in your address or any address you'd like, and it'll tell you what the valuation models show for that property, what the value is based on, I think it's 4 different sources or services that provide that information. rsrhomescout.com, rsrhomescout.com. 3 ways you can use your home equity. If you're a homeowner, odds are your equity has grown significantly over the last few years as home prices skyrocketed and you made your monthly mortgage payments. Home equity builds over time and can help you achieve certain goals. According to the latest Equity Insights report from CoreLogic, the average borrower with a home loan has almost $300,000 in equity right now. As you weigh your options, especially in the face of inflation and talk of a recession, it's important to understand your assets and how you can leverage them and protect them. A real estate professional is the best resource to help you understand how much home equity you have and advise you on some of the ways you can use it. Here are a few examples. Number 1, buy a home that fits your needs. If you no longer have the space you need, it might be time to move into a larger home. Or it's possible you have too much space and need something smaller. No matter the situation, consider using your equity to power a move into a home that fits your challenging lifestyle. If you want to upgrade your house, you can put your equity toward a down payment on the house of your dreams. And if you're planning to downsize, you may be surprised that your equity may cover some, if not all, of the cost of your next home. A real estate advisor can help you figure out how much equity you have and how to use it toward the purchase of your next home. Number 2, reinvest in your current house. According to a recent survey from Point. 39% of homeowners would invest in home improvement projects if they choose to access their equity. This is a great option if you want to change some things about your living space, but you aren't ready to make a move just yet. Home improvement projects allow you to customize your home to suit your needs and sense of style. Just remember to think ahead with any updates you make, as some renovations add more value to your home and are more likely to appeal to future buyers than others. For example, a report from the National Association of Realtors, NAR, refinishing or replacing wood flooring has a high cost recovery. Lean on our local real estate professional for the best advice on which projects to invest in to get the greatest return on your investment when you sell. Number 3, pursue your personal goals. In addition to making a move or updating your house, home equity can also help you achieve the life goals you've dreamed of. That can mean investing in a new business venture, retiring or downsizing, or funding an education. While you shouldn't use your equity for unnecessary spending, leveraging it to start a business or putting it toward education costs can help you achieve other lifetime goals, but be very, very conservative when you do this. You don't want to take the money out of your primary residence and put it into a restaurant that has a 95% fatality rate, right? So just be careful of that. Bottom line, your equity can be a game changer. If you're unsure how much equity you have in your home, give me a call, 800-306-1990, or you can start off with our friends at Home Scout. Go to rsrhomescout.com, rsrhomescout.com. It is the fourth button over in the middle of the screen, tells you what the values are. Now, be aware when you look at those values. I'm going to close it out. This is the real-time real estate segment brought to you by rsrhomescout.com. It's the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Let's chat about this report just a little bit more. So when you go to a service like Home Scout, which is a great one, and yes, it does give you the data that I think is the worst out there. Company starts with a Z. I'm not going to mention their name, and they're not a sponsor. But I know that you're looking at it because they're the biggest. So it's going to give you what they say is the value. Deep in their website, and I used to have the link to it. I don't even know if it's still there, but deep on their website, they used to publish the accuracy rate of their data. And it was pretty much, I think the best thing that they had was like only accurate like 35% of the time. So it was really way off, but I don't have that report. So I don't want to, I could look for it if you want it. But the bottom line here is that's history. That tells you on any of those services, they're telling you what the market did. Does that mean in any given market, it's going to be the same today as it was then? No. Because I'll share with you that a year ago, give or take, there was, I don't know, a dozen or more offers on every listing. Today, I think it's right around 3 offers. So prices were rapidly increasing. I just gave you the reports earlier in the broadcast in the last segment on what FHFA and what Case-Shiller both reported this morning as home appreciation. Okay, one of them, Case-Shiller, said it's down a little bit. FHFA says it's up a little bit. You decide what it is. But again, those are history. They're saying that the market is not as hot as it was a year ago. So if you're thinking about selling your house, a local real estate professional may say, something based on the characteristics of your house, 1 story or downstairs bedroom or any one of a host of other things. They may say, something the market right now says, I think I can get more than the historical pricing. You might also look in based on your area, especially on the higher priced homes that we told you. That's the Case-Shiller numbers are being skewed right now by the higher end of the market. So they might say, something? Yeah, a year ago we could get $1.5 million for that property, but today, maybe $1.3 million, maybe $1.4 million. That's what you're going to get from a local real estate professional. Now, I will share with you that I am a big, big fan of pricing aggressively. Why? Because when you price aggressively, you're going to get more people seeing your property. That's always a key. The more people that see your property, the more likelihood is that you're going to get into the bidding war. That's what you want. You want to be in the bidding war. So there is a pyramid that we have shared many, many times on Ron Siegel Radio. And it's a pyramid that actually shows how you get more money for your property. And I always throw it at Josh in the middle of a program and say, Josh, do you have this chart? And I don't give him any warning. So it's always hard for me to get it to him. But the whole idea here is about building visibility in your property, in your listing. And we share that so that you understand. So here's what the chart says. It basically tells us that if you're showing your property at market value, and so say your local real estate professional shows you the comps for the area, they show you the competition in the area, they show you what they say, okay, I think your property is worth, let's just round number, $1 million. Well, if it's at market price, you're going to get that out there for about 60% of the market will see that property, about 60%. And wonderful. Josh just got that on there. So if you're watching us on ronsiegelradio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, you see the chart that I'm talking about. If you don't see it, go and look at the program, ronsiegelradio.com in the archives. You'll see that it's probably posted usually about 6 or 7 in the afternoon. So if you're priced up market value, about 60% of the shopping audience will see that property. If you're 10% on either side, 10% high, that 60% drops to 30%. So people aren't even seeing your property online. If you're 10% below, 75% of the market will see it. Now, what if you go to 15% to either side? Well, 50% high means only 10% of the market's going to see your property. Good luck. If that 15% low, 90% of the market will see your property. So that $1 million property, if you were to put that on the market at $850,000, you're going to, almost everybody that's in that $1 million price range, shopping range, is going to see your property. That's how you get bidding wars going, because they're going to look at it and it's going to say, especially if you have not had it on the market before. If it's been on the market and you drop it that far, people wonder what's wrong. If it's a new listing, so you take it off the market right now and put it back the first of the year, new listing, call me. I'll share with you some different tools and strategies for how you're able to get the most money for your property. That's just one of them. I've got a couple others that we've done shows on. We're more than happy to share those with you. The bottom line is the realtor of yesterday is not necessarily the greatest realtor of today. Now, some of them are out there doing their homework and studying and keeping up with the market. Some are saying, this is the way I've always done it. This is the way I'm always going to do it. Great. They might be great at what they do. But you know something? 25 years ago, there was no, I don't think there was a Zillow. I don't think Al Gore invented the internet. It wasn't nearly as popular. People still went out and saw homes. There was still door knocking and open houses with the first time people would see a property. Now, people go to rsrhomescout.com, and they get a copy of they're able to find properties, and they call the realtor. And they say, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, can you show me 123 Main Street? I just saw it online. I like it. Why do you need a realtor then? Because their job is going to be helping getting you from contract to close. There are always speed bumps in that process. And a great experienced realtor will know how to navigate those speed bumps. I am not a realtor. I have a license, but I don't practice. Right? I'm not qualified. I haven't gone and studied as much as I believe somebody needs to study to be a great realtor. I don't do all those things. I lead a lending company. I do a radio show. I talk about divorce and credit repair and all these other things. Right? So you need a great realtor. And yes, I can put you in touch with one anywhere in the sound of my voice. That you're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, how do you negotiate with a debt collector? We'll talk about it and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay is available. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in less than a minute.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions, as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It is wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer has these solutions for you. Free credit audit. Yes, you do have to provide a credit report, specific one, it's what's needed, but you get a free credit audit. How do you negotiate with a debt collector is our subject today. When you become delinquent on a debt to a business or creditor, the debt may be sold to a third-party debt collector. The debt collector can contact you to settle the debt and can even file a lawsuit against you if you won't pay. If you don't think the debt is legitimate, you may be able to dispute the debt and get it dismissed entirely. But if the debt is legitimate, it's generally a good idea to settle it so that it shows up as paid on your credit report and to avoid a potential lawsuit. The good news is that you can potentially negotiate a lower payoff amount. Do debt collectors negotiate? Debt collectors may be motivated to settle for a lower payoff amount or a long-term repayment plan. In many cases, this is preferable to a prolonged collections process or a lawsuit, which takes time, costs money, and does not guarantee a successful outcome for the debt collector. Whatever you do, do not ignore the debt, even if you think it's a mistake. Taking care of debts and collections as they occur can be better for your credit and finances in the long run. You can potentially avoid severe consequences like a lawsuit resulting in a court judgment. Plus, you can move on from the collection faster. How do you negotiate with a debt collector? Don't ring up the debt collector and pay the full amount owed as soon as you hear from them. Follow these steps to try and help negotiate a better deal. Number one, gather information about the debt. First, you need to verify the debt is legitimate before you pay it. When a debt collector first contacts you, they need to provide a letter within 5 days that includes 1, the amount you owe, 2, the name of the debt collector and or original creditor, 3, instructions for how to request more information or to dispute the debt. Once you receive this letter, you have 30 days to ask for more information. The debt collector may then have to stop collections activity until they verify the debt is legitimate and send you more information. Alternatively, they can provide you the contact information of the original creditor. You can also go through your own records, including bills and correspondence with the original creditor, to gather information about the debt. Number 2, determine what leverage you have. If the debt collector can prove that the debt is legitimate and belongs to you, it's a good idea to negotiate a settlement as soon as possible. But there are several ways you can establish leverage. Number 1, statute of limitations is passed. Debts are only legally enforceable for a certain amount of time. Once the statute of limitations is passed and the debt becomes time barred, the debt collector has no power to force you to pay. They may not inform you the debt is time barred, and if you get sued, you need to show it is time barred in court. While you may want to pay a time barred debt because you believe it is the right thing to do, you now have some bargaining power to negotiate a lower payoff amount. And again, we're not giving any legal advice here, just giving you information. The debt has fallen off your credit report. Negative information, including unpaid accounts and collection, can be removed from your credit report after 7 years. If you have an account in collections that has fallen off your credit report or will fall off soon, you have less incentive to pay the full amount. And the debt collector has less to lose. Debt collectors often purchase debts from the original creditor for pennies on the dollar. This means they may not worry as much about collecting the full amount. Generally, the older the debt is, the more leverage you have. Make sure to gather as much information as you can on the debt, identify how old the debt is, research the statute of limitations in your state, and verify how long the debt has been on your credit report. Number 3, decide how much you can pay. Before you contact the debt collector to negotiate, figure how much you can afford to pay. Make sure to take all your other financial obligations, like rent, bills, and other debts, into account. Take a look at your budget or create one if you don't have one. Write down your monthly income and compare it to your outgoing expenses, and leave some wiggle room on top for unexpected costs. This can give you an idea of how much you have left over each month to pay towards your debt. Decide what you're willing to pay to settle your debt. This can be in the form of a lump sum payment, which could be a portion of the original amount owed, or several payments over time. Whatever you do, do not offer to pay what you cannot afford. Number 4, start negotiating. Now it's time to start negotiating with the debt collector. Before you call them, write down what you're going to say so you don't get flustered or confused while on the phone. Explain your financial situation and try to work out an alternative repayment plan, which can look like, here's a couple of options. Lump sum partial repayment. You offer to pay a one-time lump sum at a portion of the debt owed. For example, you may offer $1,000 to settle a $4,000 debt. Start with a lowball amount and be prepared to hold firm at the maximum amount you're willing to accept. A payment plan. You offer to make a small monthly payment over time to settle your debt. You may still be able to negotiate a lower total payoff amount, or have to pay the full amount owed to negotiate a long-term payment plan. Make sure you start the negotiations lower than what you can afford, because the debt collector might make a counteroffer. Remember that you may need to have several conversations with the debt collector before you reach a final payment amount. Keep notes of all your conversations, including who you spoke with and what was discussed. Number 5, get everything in writing. Do not pay a penny to the debt collector before you get your negotiated settlement in writing. When you pay the debt collector, request written documentation that states you have settled your debt. You may need this letter later. Number 6, check your credit report. Accounts and collections show up on your credit report and can negatively impact your credit score. They stay on your credit report for up to 7 years from the date of the first missed payment, whether or not the debt is paid. But you want to make sure the account shows as settled once you've paid it off. Creditors can likely view paid accounts more favorably than unpaid ones, because it shows that your debts have been settled. When a few months have passed after you paid the debt, make sure that the account has been updated accordingly. If it hasn't, you can contact the credit bureaus to address the inaccurate information. This is where it can come in handy to have a written statement from the debt collector that you settled the debt, as well as other evidence like check images or bank records. You can also negotiate in there that they remove it from your credit report. Remember, nothing has to be on your credit report, but anything that is on your credit report must be complete, it must be accurate, and it must be verifiable. If the credit bureau decides they're not going to verify it, it must come off. You may want to get credit monitoring to make watching your credit scores simpler. Cleanall3.com, cleanall3.com, cleanall3.com is a tool that does credit monitoring. You can start it for $1 and then go from there with whatever you're looking for. Great. That's the Your Credit Matters segment, brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. You have a credit report, it is wrong. As always, we ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh, who's engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime. 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.